So, hello everybody. Welcome to the 28th book that we are reading together. It's such a joy every time to hear another number getting added to our list. So, let
Very,
me, yeah,
it's a nice feeling.
it's a very nice feeling. Oh, so I'll share the screen and let's begin. Okay. So, we are discussing the uh, Fifth Child by Doris Lessing today. So let's see a little bit about the author, the awards and recognition that she has received, and then let's see about the book, the historical context and the period in which it is written, a little bit about her writing style and the themes which I explored in the book, some quotes from the book too. So Doris Lessing is a British author. She was born as Doris May Taylor in 1919 in what is now Iran. So her father was a bank clerk and her mother was trained as a nurse. Lured by the promise of farming riches, the family actually moved to what is now Zimbabwe, where Miss Lessing had what she has called a painful childhood. But I think it's more of the painful part of it is more of her having a lot of misunderstanding with her mother and a lot of quarrels with her mother. So she left school at the age of 13 and she was self-educated from then on. She left home when she was 15 and in 1937 she moved to Salisbury, which is now the place called Harare in southern Rhodesia, where she took jobs as a telephone operator and as a nursemaid. And in the job as a nursemaid, she had a very nice, kind employer who gave her various reading material on politics and sociology. And it was around this time that she started writing. She married at the age of 19 and she had two children. However, a few years later, she felt very imprisoned in the marriage. So she abandoned her family. She later married another person called Gottfried Lessing. He was a central member of the Left Book Club, which was a left wing organization, and they also had a son. Again, they divorced in 1949 and she did not marry again. I'm talking a lot about her marriage, especially because to give you the background behind the fifth child, because Lessing also had abandoned her children. And is my voice clear?
It's clear. Okay.
Clear?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's very clear. Yeah.
Okay. So Lessing to London in 1949 with her younger son, Peter, to
Now it's gone, Archana.
Now gone. Now it's gone.
Yes, 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 ma'am. Not audible, but
can you hear me now?
yes.
Yeah, now we can hear.
Okay. Okay. Sorry. Um, so yes, so she moved in 1949 with her younger son Peter to pursue her writing career and socialist beliefs. So she had her first marriage also she had left it because she was feeling imprisoned in her inability to pursue her communist and socialist beliefs. So again, the same thing repeated. So she left them, and she moved to London. She left the two older children with their father, Frank Wisdom. So she later said that at that time she saw no choice. For a long time, I felt I had done a very brave thing. There's nothing more boring for an intelligent woman than to spend endless amounts of time with small children. I felt I wasn't the best person to bring them up. I would have ended up an alcoholic or a frustrated intellectual like my mother. Um, but it's said that the fifth child probably was written later on with some regrets of how she had broken up her happy family. And we'll see about that a little later. So, as well as campaigning against nuclear arms, she was also an active opponent of apartheid, which led her to being banned from South Africa and Rhodesia in 1956 for many years. And on 21st August 2015, a 5-volume secret file on Lessing, built up by the British intelligence agencies MI5 and MI6, was made public and placed in the National Archives. The file, which contains documents that are redacted in parts, shows Lessing was under surveillance by British spies for around 20 years from the early 1940s onwards. Her associations with communism and her anti-racist activism are reported to be the reasons for the Secret Service interest in Lessing. Disaffected by all this and also turning away from Marxist political philosophy, Lessing became increasingly absorbed with mystical and spiritual matters towards her later years, and she devoted herself especially to the Sufi tradition. So Doris Lessing has received various awards and recognition, as can be seen here, and the most notable of which is, of course, her Nobel Prize in Literature in 2007. She was offered a damehood in 1992. However, she declined it, as she said it was an honor linked to a non-existent empire. Later, she accepted appointment as a companion of honor at the end of 1999. And she also accepted when the Royal Society of Literature made her a companion of literature. So the Nobel Prize, she was the oldest winner of the Literature Prize at the time of the award, and she was the 3rd oldest Nobel laureate in any category. Also, she was only the 11th woman to be awarded the Nobel Prize for Literature by the Academy, which was in its 106th year. And when she was told that she has won the award by journalists who were gathered outside her house, she said, "Oh, Christ," she said upon hearing the news, and added, "I couldn't care less." I think she was about 84 or something like, I think she was 84 years when she won it. 84 or 88, I'm not very sure. She died in 2013 at the age of 94. And in fact, in 2017, just 10 years after the award, her Nobel medal was put up for auction. So this is only the second time that a Nobel medal has come up for auction. Yes, so let's get on with the fifth child. So the fifth child is a Gothic horror novel. It was first published in UK in 1988, and it has been translated into several languages. This was Doris Lessing's 35th novel, and it was written when she was of the age 68. In the fifth child, Miss Lessing wrote of an attractive family with 4 children that is shattered by the birth of the fifth, a monstrous aberration. She said the book tapped a reservoir of inner grief, and she was outraged at the response to the novel, which she said was at once pigeonholed as being about the Palestinian problem, genetic research, feminism, anti-Semitism, and so on. So we'll also see a little bit more about why she felt all these things at that point of time. But the truth is that she says that it was nothing. It's just a story, and it's supposed to be enjoyed as just a story. Ben in the World is the sequel to The Fifth Child. This was published 12 years after the publication of Fifth Child. And it shows Ben into adulthood and in the absence of the Lovat home. Did any of you get a chance to read Ben in the World, Tulika or Shamil Raoji?
I read it, madam.
Oh, great. Wonderful.
Both the books I
I
read
didn't
it.
want to read it.
Okay. Tulika, did you?
I didn't read it. I read the
Oh, okay.
synopsis on Wikipedia and I was not up to it at all.
Okay. Okay.
Because the present one was a small book, The Fifth Child. Well, we
Yeah.
had adequate time to go for the sequel.
Correct.
As you
Correct.
suggested last time. That is
Right.
good.
But
And
I think, of course, Fifth Child is much better, right, than Ben in the World.
you are very correct. The
Yeah.
feelings, but I will discuss about it. Somehow I felt this one is better. But
Correct.
that one, particularly the conclusion of that Ben in the World, it sounds sometimes little otherworldly. I could not connect with that conclusion.
Correct. Correct. Mm.
Okay. Please.
So both books' portrayals of Ben are indebted to the radical psychiatrist R.D. Laing, who believed that psychological breakthroughs could be achieved through breakdowns, and that schizophrenia is a sane response to an insane world, forming a rather romanticized notion of madness. Now, critics have identified Ira Levin's novel Rosemary's Baby as an influence on Lessing's novel, drawing comparisons between Harriet and Rosemary's difficult pregnancies. Have you, any of you read Rosemary's Baby? It's one of my favorites.
I think this is with a movie
No.
also, na? They
Yes,
have made a
yes,
movie
there's a
out of
movie.
it. I think I have watched the movie. I
Okay.
think Mia, what is her name? The actress was Mia Coppola. I
Yeah.
can't get the name.
And if I'm right, Rosemary's maybe was made as a movie twice. One in the recent times, and one there's a
Yeah.
past movie also, right?
Yeah. Twice. I have
Yeah.
seen. I think I have seen both. Yeah.
No, I have not read this book. I shall do now. Rosemary's Baby.
It's a little, it's somewhat disturbing and scary like this one only, but it's
Yeah.
fun.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
A
About
fun read.
movie, I don't have an idea. Thank you.
Oh, okay. The book is better, but Shamal Ravji, you must read the book more than the movie, I think.
That is correct. I shall do. Thank you.
Yeah. So the fifth child, the historical context behind it is that it's a novel which is set in the 1960s. And in the 1950s, the British society was very regimented, and there were a lot of traditional beliefs. 60s was considered the age when Europe and America was in the grips of left-wing political movements. There's more freedom, there's more modern thought which is coming in. However, there's the actual political turmoils, nothing is mentioned in the book. However, here the main context which Doris is trying to show is that Harriet and David meet in 1965, just as the sexual revolution is gaining speed. And but here we see Harriet, who's a virgin and who's very skeptical of the pill, and she wants to stay at home with a large family and all. And all this is what the 60s were fighting against. So Harriet is a person who's more fitting with the 50s idols than with the countercultural changes of her era. So it's worth noting that at a time when recreational drug use, civil rights, socialism, and the controversy of nuclear technology filled the headlines, none of these topics is mentioned by the Lovetts in the novel. It's as though they are shutting themselves off from the real world in their removed mansion in the country. So some of the themes which are shown in the book are actually drawn from the author's life and her feelings itself. So one is she always had this feeling that she could never go back home. She was very outspoken about her politics throughout her life, and this caused her to be barred from entering Rhodesia and South Africa for her resistance to the white minority rule. And for her, Rhodesia and South Africa was actually home because she had lived there for more than 25 years. However, London was more new. So this ban was something which was painful to her. So her pain is reflected in the eyes of Ben when his family never accepts him. He is banished from home, sent away to an institution, and he's kept away from his siblings as much as possible. He also never has a place to call as home. And the other concept which is kind of played around here is Harriet is in essence a character who is as different from Doris Lessing as possible. So what is this concept of a fit mother is something that Doris has tried to explore over here. So when Lessing moved to London, she took with her only her youngest son. At first, she's quoted as saying she felt brave for doing this and for pursuing her writing and political passions. But maybe by 1988, at the time of this publication and towards the end of her life, she felt the full effects of her decision. She felt like a criminal. She felt she had destroyed a perfectly good family. And she saw that she didn't know when to quit when she was ahead. Because later, even the politics for which she had actually left the children was something which soured for her. And she removed herself from all those organizations too. So the fifth child is filled with so many impossibilities and catch-22 situations within motherhood that will stand out and gouge you. So comparisons can be made also to Lionel Shrivel's Terrifying. We need to talk about Kevin. Um, this is another book which have any of you read? We need to talk about Kevin.
No, it's
Again,
because
I watched the movie.
This is
Oh, okay. I didn't know there's a movie. Oh, is there a movie
Yeah,
of
there is
this?
a beautiful
Oh, okay.
movie. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I read this book and it's absolutely amazing and a terrifying read. Do pick it up, Shamal
I
Raoji, if
have
you've
the
Yes,
book.
not
yes.
heard of it.
I
I
do
have to
have
read.
the book.
Oh,
Yeah.
you have the
Already.
book? Oh,
Yeah, I
great.
have to read. Yeah, now maybe I'll read
So
it.
now there is a second book. One is Rosemary's Baby, and now is
Yes,
we
yes.
need to talk about Kevin. Okay, I shall do, ma'am. I shall do.
Yeah, and Tulika, you've also not read this one, right? We need
no,
to talk. No?
no,
It's
I
not
Oh,
did.
Tulika's cup of tea. She will not read
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
exactly. It's been on my TBR for so long, but I've just been shying away from reading it
She
because I
won't
don't.
read, I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah,
Uh,
I knew it would be disturbing, so
yeah. It
I've been
is
like putting
kind
it
of,
off.
yeah. True, true.
I've read the synopsis like a million times, and I know I have to get to it, but yeah, it's
Mm.
not
Did
my
you feel this one also disturbing, Tulika, the fifth child?
quite. Yes, I could
Oh,
finish it only because it was short and quick, and yeah,
okay. I have some very, very strong feelings about the book. We'll talk about it.
I remember you
Yeah.
asking me, how do you like it? Like disturbing is the only word that came to mind. It is such
Yeah.
a, yeah, okay.
I don't know if what I felt is what others felt too, but okay, we'll come to it.
Sure, sure.
Yeah. Um, okay, so finally, yeah, we are coming to it. So do you think something's wrong with Ben? What's your personal thought when you read the book?
Everything was wrong with him.
So,
From the from the
yeah.
moment mother has conceived him, the
Hmm.
way she has expressed about that she is monstrous and so many other things, from the moment he was conceived until the last moment in the second, that is sequel, if we go by, it is definitely things are wrong with him. And not only things are wrong with him, wherever he was there, particularly in the first book, actually, he created a catastrophe in that Lloyd's family.
Hmm.
Distances have grown, father is away, mother, brothers, all those things. And subsequently, when he went to society, first
Hmm.
one within home, and
Hmm.
second one within society. So home and society, both the places, he has triggered a lot of wrong things. For what a reason it is. Father
He
What
was
was,
about what about
different.
ah,
okay.
He was different. I
yes,
mean,
Yeah.
wrong
normally
is
No, but Suchi, he did have a cruel streak, right? Uh,
Okay.
in
okay.
and
fact,
the
He's
interesting point is he is not aware of that he is cruel. That is the thing.
Hmm.
yeah, that is even more disturbing. But
So yes,
he was not.
he doesn't know. He just acts. That's all. There is no application of mind there. And added to it, he is also paranoid. Maybe out of that
Hmm.
paranoia, he acts and hits others, and so many things happen.
But
It
yeah,
is a very different and difficult character. Maybe we have come across several children who are either specially abled or with other complications, Down syndrome, vagera, vagera. That is a separate thing. The havoc they cause in the families, that is a separate thing. But this child, the build-up of this particular character, then, well,
hmm.
Doris Lessing is a master. So that is what I felt.
Hmm.
But
Character is.
I felt
Uh,
Please, madam, please go ahead.
no, no. See, there was definitely something not all right with him. But
Yes.
the way he was handled, had it been handled in a different manner, he could have been a better person.
Oh,
That was,
Tulika, you completely nailed it. This is something which I was so strongly
Exactly,
feeling
sir.
about it when
Should
I
have.
read the book for the first time. So when I read the book for the first time, might have been probably about some 10 years back.
Yes,
And
yes,
from that time, I felt very strongly that it's written in a way that there's something wrong with Ben. But I felt it's something wrong with how he's been brought up right from day one,
yes.
right?
See, had he been brought up properly, he would have been able to improve himself. He would have been a
Yeah.
better handling. But there was
Mm,
definitely something not full 100%. He was not I don't know whether to use the word normal, because there was something wrong. He had
Hmm.
he kills the dog, and there is something off, but
Yes,
uh,
yes.
his handling made it just like a million times worse. Made
Yeah.
him totally unfit for society.
Yeah. So I just took out some points which I felt about when, like, since I've read the book a couple of times,
Yeah.
already these are some things which I just felt. So I'll just share it with you. So I was just trying to see the issues which we kind of see with Ben in the book and my reasoning behind it. Okay. So one thing we see that she has a very difficult pregnancies and she tries to blame I don't know what is there in my stomach and all these things. But isn't it to be expected? She's had 5 babies in 8 years. Okay.
That's
So how
true.
can you expect a pregnancy to go so smoothly the fifth time when you've like hardly you've not even given yourself time to recover? She says he's a big baby. He's 11 pounds, 5 kgs. 11 pounds is approximately 5 kgs. So I'll just show you something. I had 1 minute. Okay. Yeah, it's here. So this is a child which was born in Indonesia. He's 19 pounds. Okay. And the heaviest baby which was being born till now in the world is about 10 kgs.
My God.
Okay. So this is another child. No, and all these are normal, have been normal deliveries also. And the children are doing very well. Nothing, there's been no issue. Okay. Only the kid which was born as 10 kgs, 22 pounds in US, he passed away in some time. But otherwise, all these other kids are doing completely okay. And he was only 11 pounds, by the way. This is like 16 pounds and this is 19 pounds. So I don't know, somehow I don't feel there's
Yeah.
really anything
That,
which is a big mistake with him. So it could be something which is completely a hormonal thing or some missed gene which kind of shows up in him. And okay, he's always hungry, he keeps feeding. Possibly she wasn't making sufficient milk, she was having constant pregnancies and fatigue, she wasn't eating properly, she wasn't taking care of herself. So maybe he was hungry. It could have been a very simple reason, maybe he was hungry. And okay, so yeah, one more thing was, okay, she shouts and screams. He's shut in a room and he's ignored all day. I think even an adult who's shut in a room all day would shout and scream. Forget about a child. Okay, he kills a dog and a cat. So this is a very, very true incident. I had been to a friend's house and she's got this, I think the child must have been about 1 year or 1.5 years old, and they have these pet goldfish in a tank. So she was telling me that he loves looking at the goldfish. He enjoys seeing it, and she went inside to bring something. He put his hand inside. He took out the goldfish, gave it a squeeze, and he's showing it to me. I was stunned. Okay.
I don't know what to say.
I don't know. I was absolutely stunned. He loves it and he's hugging it so hardly. And I was like, please put it inside. Please put it inside. So,
Felt you met Ben.
so do we call it cruelty? That's he
But that
doesn't know how to show
no,
that.
Archana. See, that's a different thing. He might have been curious. He wouldn't have known that
Ah,
fish don't
that
From
would
survive
hurt
out
the
of
fish.
water.
That is the thing.
from
Yeah.
our
So,
level, we consider it as a cruelty, but from his level, it could be a play, a game.
Ah.
yeah, he could have been just, he just showing maybe his love by hugging it too closely, or maybe he did something. But again, another thing is the cat and dog are dead and they assume that it is him. No one has seen it. No
But
one
she
has seen
implies
him.
it. She implies that it's him.
It's only
Ah.
implied. Yeah, everywhere
But the
it is
author is
implied that
implying,
it,
right?
yeah,
The
author is
author.
Huh.
implying, and also the mother reacts in a way that maybe it could be him, which may kind of passes on to everyone. So everyone feels, oh, maybe
And
the
it
mother
is only
itself feels
it
that.
is only an apprehension. We don't have solid evidence actually. It is because of
Yeah,
those two got killed.
correct.
I suppose.
Then he hurts his siblings. Again, this is, I think, This is the most exaggerated thing. Hurting siblings, hurting friends, I think is a quite common streak among boys, especially being the mother of one.
Yeah.
I know that.
But he shows no remorse, Archana. That's another, because most kids do feel sorry when they are,
Mm,
when they hurt somebody or,
yeah, maybe, but what I was thinking, maybe he doesn't know those emotions at all, right?
Exactly.
You have to
This is
see
that is
what
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 the
is
other
wrong with
person
him,
is
no?
he
also.
is ignorant of the consequences. He doesn't know what he is doing.
But that's
Yeah.
the problem, right?
But
That's
that
what's
could have been taught to him, right? Only if he
over
sees
time.
others.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. That I agree.
correct.
Over time. Because like toddlers are not aware of this and they learn
Yeah,
as they go. But he's
And
slow in that aspect, but he
he's
could have been taught.
yeah,
Yeah,
your
he's never
point
been
that he,
taught.
yes,
correct.
you are very correct. He should have been talked actually in this position. He's very
Yeah,
correct. Because the sequel, when actually this Harriet says, I shall send you to that institution again, he gets himself checked. That is, he
correct,
understands. So he becoming violent or something, it gets reduced. It becomes normal. Once
correct.
he told that you will again be sent to the institution, be careful. So he
Mm,
understands things. As you just said, he should have been told that would
yeah.
have
So I felt that it's more of unfit mother. She wanted some very scenic dream. And being a fifth child, he's compared with all his four siblings who might have been softer kids or, more calmer kids. But I felt that he is problematic only because she feels he's problematic only because he's different from his siblings. But otherwise, he could just be a child with some hormonal issues because she tells that he's short. She tells that he stoops
Yeah.
and he's large in size. So all these sound more like a hormonal thing. And also, he's maybe hyperactive. He's not sleeping. He's climbing windows. He's screaming. He's noisy. All this sounds for me like things which my son has always done. you know, so climbing window, I would get like I still remember the our house there, Tulika, you remember
Yeah. The
we
fire.
used to not have grills. So
Hmm.
when we bought the house, I refused that I will not come for the puja. I won't even sit for the puja. The work was supposed to commence after the puja is done. I said I won't come for the puja till the grills are up.
So it still
This,
sounds familiar.
yeah.
Because my son wanted whether he can fly like Spider-Man.
Oh
And the
So
my
we
same
got
God.
day, in emergency basis, I had to put the grills,
Oh
all
my
my
God.
balconies.
Oh. So it was the same. I was like, I will refuse even to have a puja in the house unless the grills
Ah,
are there. So these are, I think, just because one child didn't climb a window doesn't mean that any child shouldn't climb a window. I think it's a quite a normal thing. Shouting, screaming, noisy, not sleeping, everything sounds normal to me, frankly. It's
No,
just
that's
that she is tired after it's the fifth child. She is tired. She's had a very calm and a smooth period till now. So that doesn't mean that there's some problem with the child, is what I feel.
yeah.
I
I
don't know.
can't blame the author. I thought she was implying that there's something wrong, that he's some other foreign tribe who has been. I don't know what she was.
Yeah,
Yeah, what was she trying to say? I mean, more than Harriet, I thought there was something.
with the
Uh,
narrator, right? So I wrote about that too. So that's also a very interesting thing of how she does it in her writing. Okay. So all the little things which make her worried only seem to get worse because she treats him differently. She locks him up, does not allow him to interact normally. He's just a small child. He's not even started school, but she sends him off with a stranger and his gang who are known for smoking and drinking and fast motorcycles and everything. So a normal mother wouldn't send a child who's below 3 on a fast motorcycle with some stranger, right? You wouldn't do that. And do they even feed him? So she finds it very surprising that he eats a lot when he comes back. How do you know what those kids, whether they even fed him anything all the while? So I feel she is the person who must be arrested probably for negligence and abuse. Others around her treat him differently only because the parents treat him so. I think a lot of behavior of others in the family or friends or strangers towards a child is defined a lot by how the parents behave in a particular situation. So, yeah. So also the worst part is when she shuts him down in an institution. So she brings him back because she knows she cannot forgive her cruelty if she doesn't. But at the same time, she keeps tormenting him with the fear of sending him back. I don't know again whether that's the right way to do it. So he loses all the trust which he has on people at home who are supposed to actually love and care for him. And finally, she just abandons him. When she abandons him, he's only 11 years old. He's a mere child, and she does not even give him an address to reach out to. And I think Ben is Ben only because of her.
So it is only a question of upbringing.
That's what I feel. I don't know. I
There
feel
is
from he's never had a chance.
nothing to do with genetics.
Maybe he had some issues, Shamal Raoji. Maybe he had some,
He is an
yeah.
abnormal child, and the
Mm.
situation got further exacerbated because of mother's handling. That is how I felt.
Okay, okay.
You are
Ditto. I
correct,
agree.
Elijah.
Yeah,
I
also
felt,
think that.
yeah.
And also a little sympathy for the mother, Archana. She's
Really?
handling.
I mean, you are. I
Yeah,
think I also have little sympathy for the mother. I mean,
I can
frankly.
ignorance.
Because
Might
she
have
is in
been ignorance. Maybe she
she is in
didn't
a
Ah.
realize it.
exactly she is in a catch-22 situation.
Yeah,
Correct.
and
See,
she's
what she will do as a
tired.
mother, she
Ah.
will she can't abandon or give up him, forsake him, that boy.
Mm.
And
Mm.
parallelly, she also is not able to withstand the pressure the boy creates.
Correct.
What other
Yeah,
things.
she's
So
so
she is in the
exhausted.
middle. I'm not. I
No,
was not.
even if the child is, you see many home. I don't know. I mean, people having mentally retarded child also, they have very difficult life. The
You are
mother
Correct.
very correct.
sometimes they.
You hit the correct point. I have
Yeah.
looked at parents actually who have a child with Down syndrome. You
Ah.
see, so much grown. The boy is so heavy and the girl is so. They have to carry on their shoulders in airports. I have seen so much
Mm-mm.
difficulty actually. So
Correct.
mother has, I will accept because she had 4 kids, but further she wanted a fifth kid. But it is not in her hand that it should be an abnormal child. She wanted a big house, big children. She lived the way she wanted, like the other, our Doris Lessing. That is what I found some parallels between these two, Harriet and she lived in the way she liked, and she also lived in the way she liked.
Correct.
Ah.
Just that I felt that if suppose instead of the fifth child, if he was the first child, maybe by the time he
Exactly.
was
What would
five,
Yeah,
happen?
it would have
things would
been
have
What would
been
have,
way different.
what would have happened? And somewhere she says also, they are not happy because we are happy. Somewhere some dialogue is there in the book.
mm,
No, it is something anyway. Because the
yeah.
society is so built actually, if that happens, only mothers are blamed.
Mm.
Ah.
That
Yeah,
is true. Yeah,
I
mothers are
actually
only
feel
blamed.
sorry
Mothers
I
for her.
will
agree.
total burden, everything is on the shoulder of the mother.
Correct. Absolutely
This
right.
is how our society is built. There is no sympathy or empathy for such a mother. How much actually mental price she must be paying?
Mm.
Definitely,
That is one more aspect of this, which is what I had mentioned here. That the doctors, teachers, everyone, they accept him as a person, but they don't acknowledge that he has any differences. At least if
yes,
they acknowledge it, then they can
ah,
do something to
very
change the situation.
very correct. Because
Yeah.
the way a mother views her kid is
Mm,
definitely different from the way others look at it, even father or
mm,
sibling. So mother's
mm,
attitude or approach or looking is different entirely because she has
mm,
given good. Whatever may be the bad thing, maybe good, maybe bad, right, black, whatever you say, all
mm,
said and done, the child is hers.
mm.
He's the
That is
only one from the family who thinks anything about him. Everyone is very happy when he's gone.
he is
Correct.
put in institution. Even actually,
Yeah.
Correct.
David insists, let him be there. We are only having 4 kids, not 5. That we
Correct.
will be happy. And everyone celebrates, all siblings and other things. They
Exactly.
celebrate his absence, not his presence. That means it
Mm.
created a havoc in their lives as well.
I just always have this, feeling he never got a chance. He
That's
never
true.
got a chance at all.
Not
Right
enough of a
from day one.
chance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right from day one, nothing. He's never got a chance to Because he does try, right? Even he sits and watches a movie with them. Tries and laughs when they laugh. So he wants to fit in.
But he's unable to.
Yeah.
No, I
So
will accept when you say actually mother, father, the total environment did not facilitate his proper growth.
correct. That's what I feel, you know.
Condition, did not do any hand holding to him, did not do any
Yeah.
help actually. They were not empathetic to
Correct.
him. That I will
Yeah.
accept. Because that is how the society is built now.
Yeah.
That is it. Special institutions, as you just said, are special places where actually such special kids are put.
Exactly. So the same thing, like the child whom I was telling you, who had squeezed this goldfish at that time. He's fine now. He's normal. I don't think he'll ever want to do that to any goldfish
Maybe
again.
that particular
But
instance was an aberration. We don't know.
yeah. So, that's what I just feel, that I always feel very sad for Ben, right from the first time I read it. I always feel he never got a chance.
That I will sympathize then actually, because
Yeah.
from his point of view, if you look at it, he is not at fault. Tell me,
Yeah.
ma'am.
So
In
even
fact,
when she writes a letter to invite
uh,
people to her home, she
uh,
tells Ben is not going to be there.
yes,
Why should she mention that? Right. That sounds so bad, to tell
because
people
she
my
doesn't
son
want
will
to
not be
present.
there, so you can come.
No,
Because
no,
she
because the rest of the people, they don't want. She is very clear that they're not
So,
going to
so that
tolerate Ben.
they are not going to
then
accept
good,
Ben.
And
don't
She is
come.
very
they're
sure
not
of
going
that.
to accept. She's very clear. And then
Uh,
she's trying, because you see, she's trying because she feels that everybody is blaming her, because now Ben is so after Ben came, the whole life changed. So
yes,
she just thought maybe the rest of the family are going to have some bit of happiness. It's going to be like old time.
if I
So
can
she's
make this
writing a letter.
sacrifice, if I
Yeah.
can make this sacrifice, okay, I will put aside Ben's existence. He will not be there. He come down, so that we will try to live a normal life, a normal whatever vacation.
At least rest. And the husband is blaming her. Everybody is blaming her. So
Husband is
naturally, she
severely.
just
I
But
don't.
blaming her was also very bad, I felt, because there is a
huh.
scene where the husband says, right? She says, "This is our child," and he says, "No, he's not
Yours.
mine."
It is
Huh,
not
exactly.
the
Yeah.
child is yours. He says.
Yeah,
So
it's
how?
yours, not mine.
So you have to give all sympathy to mother.
Yeah,
Also,
I think I have a lot of
have
sympathy for the mother,
Mm.
exactly.
frankly.
I just wish she had stood up for him more. Not like this. If the others don't come, it's fine. I don't care. But my son is more important to me, and he will be a part of the family. Would have been something I would have liked her to say.
But even the family didn't want him. I felt very sorry for her because she doesn't dislike him the way, like, she's not able to wash her hands of him as the
Mm.
others have.
So, no, there are
Constantly
4
torn.
more children. How many
Exactly.
people you can fight?
Correct.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, you have to take sides. You
And
Correct.
see, because
it's
that is difficult for her also. Na? You have to
Correct.
understand that.
she feels she's being unfair to the 4 other kids.
Exactly.
Mm.
That is the thing.
She feels
Yeah.
guilty.
He hurts them.
What is it?
So
She's,
she's very torn,
Hmm.
I feel.
hers
Yeah.
is a very torn personality actually. What she will do, which area
Yeah.
she can justify.
And financially also, she's dependent on them, right?
Yeah, she's not
Yeah.
employed actually. She's dependent on David, and he is actually working 2 jobs he was doing, isn't it?
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
he was, and they were still
Yes,
dependent
one
on the
job.
David's father for the
Yeah.
Exactly.
money. Yeah.
And David
So,
money was also not enough. Actually, he has
Yeah.
to depend on his father, and
Correct.
with whom does not have a very good relationship.
Okay, you have kind of softened my feelings to the mother.
yeah, yeah.
No,
I
it
mean,
was,
I'm horrified. Exactly. Because I feel I have seen many people with mentally retarded children. I mean, where I live, my
Mhm.
downstairs neighbor, she has a son, her elder son, he is mentally abnormal. And now she herself, she is around 70, the lady.
Mm.
And her
Oh, so
son, the
sad.
elder son, is must be around 40. I mean, he's around 35, 40, and the younger one is another 3 4 years younger to the elder one, and her husband is also not keeping well, so it is so difficult. Poor lady, she takes care, and
Mm.
the whole family is, their whole life is different totally. So
Correct. Correct.
it is very, very difficult to have one child. I
Mm.
mean,
Yeah, it's
it is
very,
tough.
yeah,
It is
I
very
felt
tough.
sorry
Total
for her.
pain.
I felt very sorry for her.
Exactly. In such
Yeah.
cases,
Yeah.
total pain, total burden, total blame, everything is borne my mother only. That is our societal condition.
Yeah.
Mm.
He has to pay
Even
that.
I have a friend whose
But
both her
instead
children
of
are,
doing this, she could have even put him, I feel, in some hostel or something like that, right? That would have
He
even
would have
even
done
there,
that.
I feel he would have been much better than what
They
he
were
was.
probably not there, Archana. At
it
that
was not
time,
there. In
yeah,
50s, it might not have been there only.
they only
That,
Maybe
had
that,
mental asylums, nothing else.
and that institution, they were drugging him, that boy.
Yeah,
Correct. That was a very horrible thing. But
sad.
Uh,
Very
and
other
that particular
something,
paragraph,
yeah,
actually really heart wrenching.
yeah, it is
yeah,
very
correct,
Very,
bad. I
very
mean,
difficult to read. That one I felt actually. In the
correct, correct.
quotation,
they were kind of treating him like an animal only. I mean, they were
Yeah,
not, there
yeah.
was
exactly,
no this
Mm.
thing.
exactly. So painful that one actually. There is
Yeah,
You
no.
imagine how bad the mother must have felt.
That's
yeah,
what
Go
I
and
say.
see that, and again she gets him back home. And at
Mm.
home, again, she's ruined everybody's life. Like, kind of, they all are kind of blaming her. I mean, all my sympathies are with the mother. Sorry to say
Mm.
this, Archana.
No,
That is a fact actually. There is no other character who can sympathize with. Ben is
Mm.
something different, and David is something else. He lives in his own. But
Mm.
extra suffering is undergone by mother only.
Mm. But I think, it wouldn't have come to that extent itself had it been better right from beginning. That's what is my feeling,
No, you see,
instead of
if Ben
treating
would
him
have been
differently.
no, she would have treated him differently if he would have been the first child, or maybe
Yeah,
second, maybe
exactly.
second also. But fifth
Yeah.
child is something
Exactly.
very different. I
Now
mean, you
look,
cannot. Yeah.
now
Mm.
look,
That's
look
why
this.
there is this very beautiful quote, I think it's by David's mother, I think, where she says that if you're very rich, you can have a lot of children. If you're very
Yeah.
poor, you can have a lot of children.
correct.
However, people like us, we need to take care of our children also. So it's better you have less.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
exactly. That is
Yeah.
it. That is a very nicely summed up. Actually,
Yes,
that is
talking of the chapter, when she goes to the institution, I will read out that paragraph. Very heart touching, actually.
Sure.
Please, if you permit me, ma'am.
Yes, please. Yes,
Thank you.
Shamal Rauji.
While she strode rapidly through the ward to the door at the other end, she was able to see the bed or cot held an infant or a small child in whom the human template had been wrenched out of pattern, sometimes horribly, sometimes slightly. A baby like a comma, a great lolling head on a stalk of a body, then something like a stick insect, enormous bulging eyes among stiff fragilities that were lips, a small bird all blurred, her flesh guttering and melting, a doll with chalky swollen limbs, its eyes wide and blank, like blue pots, and its mouth open, showing a swollen little tongue. A lanky boy was skewed, one half of his body sliding from the other. The child seemed at first glance normal, but then Harriet saw there was no back to its head. It was all face. It seemed to scream at her. That is how she described that institution. There are several kids, several boys, whatever, several patients of the type in that institution. From there, she brought Ben back to her. Look at the sacrifice of the mother. That's what.
Yes. It's a very, very, I remember this.
Heart touching, actually.
Touching. True. Yeah, so I think I can understand where you're coming from, and I think I also feel now a little
So
more
now you have to
softer
revise
towards
this
her.
unfit.
Have
Don't
to,
use the unfit. You said unfortunate mother or something,
yeah.
not unfit.
No, no, still I will sympathize her. Everyone
Yeah,
forsakes her. David forsakes, children forsake her, her
yeah,
parents forsake her, society forsakes. Look at her position, pitiable condition actually.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
she fights back. And everything she
Mm,
wanted, but somehow it doesn't happen. For me, she's
mm.
a strong lady for having fought so many battles.
Correct. That is true, definitely. Fighting
Uh,
so many battles without the support of anybody.
Anybody,
So
finance, there
yeah,
is no financial support, there is no husband support, no children support.
yeah.
But she
But
stuck up to
but
a point.
whatever he did in that initial, that first maybe 4, 5 months of his after he was born, I felt was completely normal, ordinary behavior of any active child. I just was feeling very bad that he has been every step she has taken has only been like increasing whatever little difficulties of either adjusting with society, or some children do find it difficult to socialize, do find it difficult to adjust, do find it difficult to make friends, or be soft or be kind or something. And I think that's such a very very normal kind of a thing which
Not audible.
Your voice is
Uh,
gone.
Your
voice is lost again.
voice broke, madam.
You muted yourself. Yeah.
Mm.
Still gone.
Not audible.
Connection is gone or something?
It appears actually we are not
You
able
can
to
see
hear.
her. So the connection is not there. She's visible, but still not
Huh,
audible.
We are
No.
able
she's
to
visible.
see.
I can't see her on the.
Oh, I
Video
can.
is okay. Video is okay. Audio only.
Okay.
Yeah, 5 minutes. It's okay. We are waiting.
We'll wait. No problem.
Damsharad will play.
Okay.
Yeah,
But this is a small book, but a powerful book. That's what I think.
yeah. I mean, you never. I read it in one go. Like
I took 2 days
it's.
to read. I want to relish the
Huh.
Yeah.
but very powerful book. It has a lot of
Yeah.
so many
can you
things.
hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Very we are able to hear.
Oh, great. Okay. I'm back.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Okay. Yeah, so let's proceed. Okay, so the one of the interesting things which I think Doris does in the book, and which is why we have very strong opinions about the characters, is there are these two kind of narrative tools which are used. So one is called as an overt narrator and one is a covert narrator. So overt narrator may be a character in the story or a narrator which is intruding from outside the story. And a covert narrator is one which just presents the events and allows logic and the characters to play out their roles in a normal way. They don't try to influence the reader's judgments on characters and events. Now, the narrator in the fifth child is an overt narrator. And many things which we see is from the eyes of the narrator, along with our own our own personal reactions to things which we have experienced probably. So he often indirectly addresses the reader and while intrudes from outside the story. For instance, the main example in this is when the narrator's attitude towards David's stepmother, Jessica. She's not shown in a very good light, and it's very obvious the narrator doesn't feel friendly towards her. And this kind of influences our view of her. But if you go and read Jessica's role in the book, there's actually nothing she's done which is wrong or which is bad, or which kind of maybe separates David and his father, or David and, whatever. There is nothing like that. But the narrator's attitude towards David's stepmother kind of feeds on us too. So when I was reading about this narrative tool, I had this feeling that maybe in some ways, Doris Lessing's feelings towards the child has been a little bit how she described the child, and how strongly I feel about Harriet's role in in bringing up Ben could have been a little bit influenced because of this kind of narration, coupled with my own experiences in bringing up my kids. So I feel a lot of things which have been written about Ben kind of draws parallel with my own life also. So my sons are very mischievous, especially my elder son has been very mischievous, very difficult. And I've had experiences where, the teachers tell me it's so difficult to keep him in the class. Then, Tulika, you may be remembering a lot of this.
Been there.
Yeah. You may be remembering. We've had so many so many experiences, and it felt many times like I'm the only one supporting him against the whole world. I've had a lot of such experiences while bringing him up, and now you will not be able to recognize it's the same person I'm talking about. Probably as soft as a cat, or I don't know what to say, as silent as soft, and the most non-problematic child, I would call him.
Yeah, exactly the same. Exactly.
Is it? Oh my God. So
But this is very interesting, this overt narrator, because even I got the impression that she is kind of, when she talks of Ben, the author, that's why I say I blame the author, not the mother. She kind of projects him like he's some Neanderthal, some other, some other tribe, or some primitive, somebody born with a primitive gene or something.
Yeah.
And
you know what that does to you is when you, like, I read the book 10 years back, 10, 11 years back. So when my son was maybe 4 or 5 or something like that, that's when I first read the book. And I was in the midst of all this. I was right in the midst of all this, and I was feeling so angry. What is he doing which is big deal? What is he doing which is so wrong? There's nothing. Right? Yeah. So, and then I'm realizing it now, when I read more about her writing style and her way of narration, I'm realizing that's because I'm experiencing that. And now I'm trying to be defensive against that narrator. That, correct. Hey, what you're saying is wrong. It's not necessary. Ben is not like that.
No, actually, that's a very interesting way of telling a story. Like, you influence the reader without the reader being aware of, directly aware of it.
Correct. But at the same time, if it was a reader who never had the experience of having such a child or having to fight for that child, they would feel for the child, feel against the child. They would feel, yes, this is something bad.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So that's very interesting.
So that's a very interesting way of her writing, which is all Doris Lessing's greatness, which is what I think is probably coming out in the book.
Yeah, rather underhand way of writing.
Yeah.
Influencing opinions.
So there's actually but The Fifth Child is not considered her best book. Her best book is supposed to be The Golden Notebook.
Golden Notebook.
Yeah. Have any of you read it?
No. I only had a review of it actually.
Yeah.
It's about what? This Golden Notebook?
Four parts. It's almost autobiographical.
Yeah, okay. It's almost autobiographical,
there
and also talks a lot about feminism, I think, right?
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
I thought Suchi would say I've seen the film.
No.
Other book, The Grass is Singing, is also taken to be a good book.
Oh.
The Grass is Singing and this one, these two. They're taken to be a
Grass is Singing is the first book, is it?
Right.
Correct. So she comes to London with the manuscript of The Grass is Singing. That's how I think the story goes, and her in her personal life. So But she gets that international fame and everything only after the Golden Notebook. So that's like one of her.
And it is also a difficult book, actually, difficult to read. That's what I gathered from that video. We have to read it carefully. Some four parts, four different colors.
Okay. So I was reading a lot of articles about her life, her writing, and this
and she
keeps
herself
coming up
also
again and again.
exactly. She also herself appears to a difficult character. She is in communism. From there, actually, she abandons mother, family, and leaves her children, husband, then jumps over to Sufism. And then, and when Noble she's a different character. That's what I felt.
Must be a very complex personality.
Exactly. She has written two books. Her autobiography, there are two volumes. I was thinking if I can go through them. She's a complex, as you just said, a sophisticated writer. And the way now you're explained about overt and covert narrators, actually, that her working style is also different. That is the thing.
Correct.
Special way of putting things, this narration, covert and overt. Thank you.
And to imagine that she studied only till the age of 13. She's not had any formal education after that.
The autodidact. She learned everything on her own.
They're really amazing. Great.
She didn't pull on well with her mother. So she leaves mother. First husband, second husband.
No, I mean, she is such a complex, as a child also, she must be a complicated child. That is why the mother must not be.
Mother is taken to very disciplinarian. She was very strict.
Okay.
She didn't like to remain under her fold.
That's why from 15 she's not been home. So
13 years actually leaving home. Let us visualize ourselves. It is very difficult. After 13 years, if you want to leave your home and go away and settle outside, it's not easy.
But then her childhood must not be a happy one, obviously, and it is complicated family life. She also that is it.
So continuing with it, reading more into the story. So I came across this interesting article about the fifth child in New York Times. So readers have had very strong reactions to the novel, Mrs. Lessing said, which pleases her. She's even thinking of writing a sequel. This was before When in the World came out. So, but other kinds of reactions are bothering her. The comments of some critics and academicians who regard the novel as a moral fable or a commentary on the disintegration of society. I just laugh, she said. God knows how many things they've said this book is really supposed to be about. There are lists of them, each one laid down with total authority. One American writer said it was really about the Palestinian problem. My favorite is an Italian journalist who said what it was about was the migrant labor problem in Europe. I thought, well, you can't top that one. What really fascinates me, she said, is this need that is so strong now that if you read a work of the imagination, you instantly have to say, oh, what this really is so and so, reducing it to a simple formula, because that's what they are doing. This story has disturbed them in some way, so they make it safe. This is partly because if you do this to a book, you don't have to think about it anymore. You don't have to be affected by it. We like pre-packaged, simple messages and statements. We don't like things that are complicated, that perhaps there isn't a solution to. And there's no solution to the problem of this book. There's no right way to behave. Maybe people get upset by that. I don't think we like dilemmas. We like to think we can solve everything, but we can't always. A permanent anguish.
They're beautiful, actually.
Yeah.
And there is no solution to the problem of this book. She herself has concluded. Naturally, we are open to discussion. There is
so, Archana, she only has answered to your...
Yeah. So I brought out my points and I'm telling you, she has given me an answer also.
Exactly.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
A very intelligent writer, I must say.
Yeah. Actually,
he knows what is writing and why he is writing and that.
Yeah. So actually, my first son used to be very mischievous, very active, very mischievous. He wouldn't sleep all night. And like I said, he would climb into windows. I have had so many emergency room visits, once in a same week, I had 2 emergency room visits, and the doctor said maybe you should become my wholesale patient. So, you know, so I've had like all these experiences. And after that, when my second son was born, and I would feel that he's an angel. So I would feel that this boy actually sleeps. He sleeps for 2-3 hours in the night, which is like great. Wow, amazing. So it never struck me that sleeping only for 2-3 hours in the night is also bad. Because we so much you compare yourself with one child with another, though we don't want to do it, but somehow, when you are in the same house, we end up doing that, I guess, to our children. And then I had this friend who had come home, and she had some BP issues and all that stuff. So we met. She used to stay in our building only. So she had come home, and that time my younger one was there. He was running around the house, and which was quite normal. So I was quite okay about it. This friend got very upset. So she was like, every time he climbs on the dining table, my BP is shooting up. So next time, please, let's not meet in your house. Let's meet somewhere else, or sometime when you're free, or sometime when he's sleeping or something. I'm feeling so troubled and disturbed. My heartbeat is going up whenever I see him climbing the thing. And I was like, this is like my most normal child. So I'm completely okay with him climbing the table. He knows he's supposed to, okay, this is how you climb, this is how you get down. You teach them, they are fine. But so I was just thinking, oh, what would she have done if she had seen my elder one? He was like even much, much more. So I think so much of how we behave and how we react to situations is also something which determines how people react to that situation. I don't know if I'm putting it rightly.
That is
No,
correct,
actually, what
There is
you
always a
perceive
pair.
as normal may not be normal to others.
Yeah,
That is
exactly.
exactly that is the
Exactly.
thing.
Yeah. So
So-
she was quite an old lady. So she had kids who would just sit in one place where they are made to sit. So
Yeah,
that
exactly.
that's the normal thing, right?
Yeah, for her that is normal.
Yeah,
That is what it is. But for us, it's different. Like,
exactly. And I would be worried if my kid just sits in one place.
ha,
I
now
would
then
be a
we will
little
be
worried.
going to the child psychologist thinking, "Ye kya ho gaya?"
Yeah. I
That is.
I don't. And I myself, I've been a very difficult kid for my mother. So again, I
Yeah.
think when you kind of accept them for what they are, nurture them slowly, and Tulika used to do that so amazingly well. She used to be so patient, and I think I learned a lot about parenting from her. Thank you so much for that, Tulika.
Oh my God, Archana.
Seriously, I'm telling you. Oh my
So,
God.
Tulika, we are giving you a standing ovation. Okay.
Imagine.
Yeah. I would be seeing her so patiently, that too with 2, and she would be so patient.
Yeah, that is true. Exactly.
Oh
With
my.
a maid in tow all the time.
Ha.
And always one would be crying.
Oh God, yeah.
You remember that?
I just learned to be happy. At least they cry one at a time.
Yeah.
One would be happy, the other one would 100% cry. Oh God.
And
The biting, the hitting, we've seen it all. I mean,
uh,
oh God,
so,
yeah.
so when I read it, that was my only feeling. My feeling was that, when I was patient, the child changed, right? The child became patient. It also kind of mimics our behavior.
Yeah, to some extent. And they grow up, they change, they become quieter.
Yeah. When they grow up, when they have that loving environment, they kind of change. They become softened down.
Yeah,
Yeah. So here he doesn't have that.
that's true.
Yeah. Anyway,
Hmm.
so these are some quotes which I liked from the book. By the way, this was what Doris Lessing said about writing the book. So she says, I hated writing it. It was sweating blood. I was very glad when it was done. It was an upsetting thing to write. Obviously, it goes very deep into me somewhere.
I think she drew a lot from her childhood. That's why she felt so strongly about the book.
Yeah. And I think she also drew a lot from her treatment of her children
Her
also.
children, correct.
Exactly correct.
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 It is
Yeah.
exactly correct. The book is reflective of her own life.
Her own life. True. So these are some
Exactly. This is the quote which you.
yeah. So you want
Mm.
things both ways. The aristocracy, yes, they can have children like rabbits and expect to, but they have the money for it. And poor people can have children and half of them die and expect to. But people like us in the middle, we have to be careful about the children we have so we can look after them. In case she had more help, if she had someone who was hands-on with Ben or something like that, her life would have been so much more different.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Actually, the basic premise of that life was wrong, no?
Yeah.
The basic idea that we will just go and live far off in the country and constantly have as many children as we want, and then buy a big house which we can't afford, and we'll have
Exactly.
people over.
I mean, how they just assumed that the father would help. And by whatever
Don't
you
even
may
think
say,
about it. So
yeah,
they don't even think where the money is going to come from.
exact. Yeah,
It was such a weird dream, and then to fulfill that dream, they just cook. It was, I don't know, it was very ill
There is,
thought of.
I don't know whether I included that quote actually, Tulika. There is a place where she tells him, that I think we are being punished for this. For just
Yeah,
that
she
we could
said
just
that.
have all the happiness we want. We could just buy a house. We could have kids, and we can just do what we like.
Correct. That's right. She says
Yeah.
that.
yeah.
Mm. So she wanted to be acknowledged, her predicament given its value. This
Yeah,
was
this is
also
sad.
one thing which is very
Yeah.
sad, which she never
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
from anyone.
Mm.
From the doctors, and she doesn't.
Nobody.
From her
I
husband
think we
itself.
are the only
Yeah, the
people
only
who understand.
From nobody she got none. Actually,
No, but that's
she was never acknowledged. Actually.
Huh.
Correct. Paul was even more difficult than Ben, but he was a normal disturbed child, not an alien. So this is the words of the narrator. So see slowly.
Yeah.
Now
See,
when I read this and I heard that word alien, I get defensive. Someone else who reads it might feel, oh, so sad. Yeah.
okay, I was terribly annoyed when I read this at the author. What does she mean by that?
Huh.
That whole idea of pegging him as something unworldly, as this at least not somebody who doesn't fit into this world.
Correct.
That just annoyed me. I didn't. What is she trying to say? Where did he come from?
This is a very clear example of the overt narrator.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
In other
Yeah,
words,
she's kind of
indirectly, she is saying
manipulating
that
you.
Ben is alien. Indirectly, she is saying Ben is an alien.
Correct.
Like
No, she's kind
my
of
mother
manipulating
didn't,
your opinion. That is
yeah.
what it is.
So my mother didn't join the discussion today, but she also finished reading it, and we had a nice discussion about it on all these points. She's forgotten how difficult I was, by the way. So after reading this, she felt, I think he's some alien creature. Maybe he's come from some space or something. Maybe he's some monster born from some other world or something like that. And I was like, no, not at all.
Yeah.
So he watched the children, particularly Luke and Helen, all the time. He studied how they moved, sat down, stood up, copied how they ate. He had understood that these two, the older ones, were more socially accomplished than Jane. And he wanted to be that, right? So that's why he's trying.
Yes.
And he ignored Paul altogether. So when the children watched television, he squatted near them and looked from the screen to their faces, for he needed to know what reactions were appropriate. If they laughed, then a moment later, he contributed a loud, hard, unnatural sounding laugh. And this sounded such a normal thing for a child to do. Sarah and William's unhappiness, their quarreling, had probably attracted the Mongol child. Yes, of course. She knew one shouldn't call them Mongol. Again, she feels that if you're happy, then everything is fine. Only for those who are unhappy or who have something else, they will have something wrong with their child or something wrong which would happen to them. So these are the words of Harriet.
Yeah, this is.
But the last thing before they slept, the other children closed their doors quietly from inside. This meant Harriet could not go to them to see how they were before she went to bed, or if they were sick. She did not like to ask them not to lock their doors, nor make a big thing of it by calling in a locksmith and having special locks fitted, openable from the outside by an adult with a key. The business of the children locking themselves in made her feel excluded, forever shut out and repudiated by them. Sometimes she went softly to one of their doors and whispered to be let in, and she was admitted, and there was a little festival of kisses and hugs. But they were thinking of Ben, who might come in. And several times he did arrive silently in the doorway and stared in at the scene, which he could not understand. This was very, very heart-wrenching for me. He could not understand. He was not feeling jealous.
Yes, that is the thing.
Yeah. He
He is
couldn't even
ignorant.
understand what is happening.
He has no feeling. He doesn't understand.
Yeah.
He has to be stimulated by his sibling to laugh or to smile while seeing TV.
He
If
has
they
not
do
had something normal like a hug or a kiss.
that,
And that feels so sad.
and
Yeah.
in the,
This was a very sad bit.
in the
Yeah.
second book, he gets exploited to the hill.
Mm.
That causes further sadness in the reader.
Mm.
It's a sad book, all said and done.
Yeah. He was not someone easily overlooked. And yet, why did she say that? Everyone in authority had not been seeing Ben ever since he was born. This is what I spoke about. So nobody sees him differently. When she saw him on television in that crowd, he had worn a jacket with its collar up and a scarf and was like a younger brother, perhaps of Derek. He seemed a stout school boy. Had he put on those clothes to disguise himself? Did that mean he knew how he looked? How did he see himself? Would people always refuse to see him, to recognize what he was? So again, that narrator comes in, tries to tell us he's something else. So people are refusing to see him, to recognize what he was.
You can feel mother's anguish here.
Yeah. Anguish. Anguish in others not recognizing that he's different.
No. I think she's looking for sympathy for herself, that she has a child. Like nobody's recognizing that he's different, right?
Yeah, that's what.
He looks so normal in his clothes, is what she's trying to say.
And she can't complain to anybody what kind of difficult time
Yeah.
she is having. That is
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
she's kind of frustrated. That
Yeah. So
she
everyone in
can't.
authority had not been seeing Ben ever since he was born. So then nobody's seeing him differently. They're just like, authority here, she means, I think, all the doctors, teachers.
Correct.
Exactly.
Everyone.
That is.
Yeah. Yes, I think, yes, we are done.
It's a
For a
good book.
small book, it kind of
Yeah, it's good discussion.
talk about Archana's hashtag justice for Ben.
Yeah, justice for Ben.
Oh God.
But you've kind of softened me up now towards the mother too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Good. Okay, so I'll stop the recording and then we'll discuss what are we going to read next.
Yeah.